Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I am bringing you a recommendations video, and if you're taking part in Marvelathon in the month of March, hosted by the lovely Lisa from Lisa Does Life, and you are on Team New Gen, you might want to keep watching because I'm going to give some recommendations for books that I think work really well with the prompts. So obviously I am representing Moon Knight. What I've done with this recommendations video, there's like 3 or 4 recommendations for the other 4 prompts, and then I've got a few more recommendations for the Moon Knight prompt because it's my prompt. So I'm just going to get stuck in. There are some books that can cross over and work for multiple prompts on this, so I will let you know as I go along if that is the case for each of these. So for the first one, we have Scarlet Witch, which is obviously Chloe, and that is to read a book set in an alternate reality. So first up, we have Strange Worlds Travel Agency series by L.D. Lipinski. This could work for any of the books in this series because whilst this is mostly, well, not even mostly, whilst this takes part in our world, there are these suitcases that you go into and you end up in alternate realities. Strange Worlds Travel Agency. It's perfect for this, and the whole series is great. I need to read the 3rd book, but the rest of the series is great. Next up, we have Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Any sort of dystopian that's like a very different reality to our current reality would work, and I think this one's a perfect one because it is set in like a futuristic version of our world. And I think it just works very, very well. And it is just such a good series. Obviously, all 3 of the books in this series would work for this because, so if you've already read the 1st book or something and you want to continue the series, you can. Along the same vein as Scythe, we have Stolen Time by Danielle Rollins. This series is never talked about, and it hurts me because it is an incredible series, and this is set in a futuristic Chicago where there's been like a series of tsunamis that have left Seattle underwater. So it is an alternate reality to the one that we currently live in, and it is just so good. The whole trilogy, there is time travel in it, there's like that sci-fi element, and I just absolutely love this series. And then it wouldn't be me if I didn't recommend some romance, and it's not Love Hypothesis for this prompt because that is obviously a contemporary romance. It's the Wicked Villain series by Katie Robert. Any of the books in this series would work. I'm just holding up the 1st book, which is Desperate Measures, but this is an alternative reality where Hades is like the king of the underworld, which is like this mafia style thing, and there's Jafar and there's Jasmine and there's Meg and there's Hercules and there's Hook and Tink, and just this series is everything, and it works perfectly for this prompt if you want a bit of romance. And when I say romance, I mean smut. Next up is Fina, which is Liv's prompt, and for this it is read a book with a battle, and she has specifically said this could be like a battle, whether it's a physical battle or a mental battle. I have picked out a few. The few I have picked out actually are all physical battles, but there are many. If you wait till you get to the Moon Knight prompt, mental health rep, there's some good ones there that would cross over. So first up, we have Iron Widow. This was one of my favourite books the year I read it. I absolutely love this. This has a big battle. This is very like sci-fi. This could actually work for alternate reality as well. Could it work for anything else? I don't think it would work for any of the others, but it would very much, I would pick this for Book with a Battle because it would be perfect for that. Next up, we have the Ember and the Ashes series by Sapata here. Again, Book with a Battle. So this is like taking place during like this whole like war type thing, and there's battles in every single one of these books, if I recall. So any of the books in this series would work. So this is perfect. Again, alternative reality, if you just want to go for a fantasy world, for alternative reality, then you can. This series works. I think that's it. It's not funny. It's not a funny book, but it's an amazing book series, so I highly recommend it. And then Book of the Battle, Queen of Her Own Darkness by Cassandra Clare. Now this has a big battle, and actually you could probably use any end of a series of any of the Cassandra Clare books, because all of them have battles in. And in fact, you could probably use any any, because they will at some point battle some demons. So you could use any book in the Cassandra Clare series. I'm holding this one because it is the By the Angel Along book for the month of March. So I'm just like plugging that a little bit. But any Cassandra Clare book. And to be fair, any fantasy book, I would say tend to stick with the final book in a series of fantasy series, because that's when the big battle tends to happen. But there tends to be battles in like most fantasy books, whether it's the first book in a series or the last book in a series. So yeah. Next up we have Groot, which is Danny's prompt, and that is to read a book with a tree or wood on the cover. Now this, I'm quite happy with my picks for this. So first up we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. You can see there's some trees on the cliffside with the house, so that definitely fits. And this is just such a cozy, warm book. It is such a quick and easy read, and I just love it so much. Next up is one I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about in here, and it's The Memory Trees by Callie Wallace. This is a YA kind of fantasy, and if I recall, this actually deals with mental health battle as well. So mental health battle, trees, and it even has the word trees. It's a really good book. Like I said, it's YA, and it's just really good. I do actually want to reread this now that I've reminded myself I have it. Next up we have Ghostwood Song by Erica Waters. There's like tree branches here and wood. It works. It's very supernaturally, it works. To an extent, mental health. She's dealing with the grief of losing someone, and she's having nightmares, and I don't want to say anything else, but it's a really good book and very underrated. And then this one, I'm actually so annoyed because the 4th book has just come out and it doesn't fit this prompt. And the 4th book is the one I need to read. But we have the Malamander series, or rather the Eerie on Sea series by Thomas Taylor. So this is the first 3 books, and all of them have some kind of wood or trees on the cover. So if you look at the first one, you can see the ships in the background. That's wood. You look at the second one, again, ship, wood. Third one takes place on a stage. There is a stage. Stages are made of wood, so it fits. However, the 4th one does not have any wood on it, which is really, really frustrating. Next up, we have AntMan, which is Meg's prompt, and that is to read a funny book. Now, I've picked out 3 books, but anything by these 3 authors works, but I'm not going to drag all the books by those authors off my shelves. So first up, we have anything written by Rick Riordan in the Percy Jackson universe. Like, the narration is just hilarious. Percy is funny. I've read the Magnus Chase series. Magnus Chase is hilarious. And honestly, just there's so many things in this book that will make you laugh, and in all of them. So anything in the Percy Jackson's like world would work. You should know this was going to be on here. It's anything by Ali Hazelwood. I know some people don't find these books funny, but I find them hilarious. The amount of times I laugh out loud for these is unreal, especially the newest one. And when I say newest one, I don't mean Loathe to Love You. I mean Love Theoretically, the one that isn't out yet, because I got an EARC. I'm not going to stop bragging about it. I'm so happy. Like, so happy. But yeah, anything by Ali Hazelwood always has that comedic aspect in it, and I absolutely love it. And then the final one for funny is anything by Tom Fletcher. Tom Fletcher is just, he just has this such a way with words, and he's just so funny with these books. And yes, they're kids books, but honestly, anyone, any age can read these and have a good time. I've picked up Creakers because I think Creakers is my favourite so far that I've read. I still need to read Spacebound, which is the newest one. But I've read all 3 of the Christmasaurus books, the Creakers and the Danger Gang. And this one I do think is my favourite. It's just so funny in multiple parts. And one of the funniest parts of these books in general is when Tom, like, talks to the reader. And it's just great. It's great. I love all of his books. And then the final prompt is Moon Knight, which is me. And that is to read a book with mental health representation. This can be any sort of representation, any sort of mental health, like disorder or anything like that. The books I've picked. So first up, we have the Dark Artifices series, obviously I'm picking up Queen of Air and Darkness because this is the one I've got in front of me, but it's this whole trilogy because Ty is actually autistic, which Ty is like one of my favourite characters, and I just need everyone to love Ty, okay? I just need everyone to love Ty, and he just needs to be protected at all costs, because if Cassandra Clare hurts him, I'm gonna cry. Next up we have Beautiful Broken Things by Sarah Bernard. So one of the main characters in this has a lot of trauma that she is trying to deal with, and any of the books in this series would work for this because Suzanne is in all of them. But it's just such a beautifully written book. I love Sarah Bernard's writing. I think she's an incredible author. And this series in particular is just absolutely beautiful. Beautiful Broken Things. Next up, we're going to go with Holly Bourne. Just as an author, I think every single one of her books has featured some sort of mental health disorder. It's usually anxiety, depression, PTSD, things like that. The three I've picked are We All Lemons and Snowflakes? I can't actually remember if it specifies what mental health disorder the main character has, but she is severely depressed and ends up in a sort of rehabilitation centre where she meets other people who have similar mental health disorders as her, and it's just a beautiful book where the main message is kindness is contagious, and it's beautiful. I absolutely love Holly Bourne's writing, which on that point, Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bourne? I don't need to say by Holly Bourne, you know it's by Holly Bourne. This is the first book in the Spinster Club series. All the books in this series would work because they follow the same characters, but I believe the main character has OCD and I cannot remember the other condition she has. It's been a while since I've read this book, but definitely OCD. Again, the writing is just incredible, and as a YA author, just everything. And then finally we have The Places I've Cried in Public. This is my favourite of Holly Bourne's books. It's the one I resonated with the most. There is a lot of like trauma and recovering from the trauma, PTSD, and it's beautiful. I will say look up trigger warnings because you're gonna need them. But this one really hit me hard and I absolutely loved it. And then also literally any Moon Knight comic or graphic novel, any of it will work. Obviously, as I said in my little clip of the announcement video, Mark Spector has which is dissociative identity disorder. It is so hard to say that when I'm thinking about it. So any Moon Knight comic will work. I'm holding this one because this is the only one I've got physically. It is the complete collection. It is Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, and I don't know exactly what collection. It's a collecting Moon Knight 2011 issues 1 to 12. It's a whole collection, and this one is a really good one to start with, I think, because you don't need to have watched the TV show to read this, obviously, because this came first. But I really liked this, and I recommend any Moon Knight comics. So yeah. There are loads more that I could recommend, but I'm going to leave it there because this is already getting to be a slightly longer video. But I hope you are joining Team New Gen for Marvelathon. I hope you're taking part in Marvelathon just in general. And I hope you find a recommendation that you didn't have before from this video. Hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.